Hello, everyone, and welcome to the exciting world of consumer behavior research. In this course, you will learn what consumer behavior entails, how it fits into the larger field of marketing, and how we study it. To introduce myself, I am Dr. Conrad, and there is a little bit of information about myself. I have a master's degree in integrated marketing communications and a doctorate of business administration with a concentration in marketing. I have about 25 years or more in the field as a professional and a little over 10 years in higher ed. And I am really excited to be with you over the next 8 weeks as we talk about consumer behavior. At the intersection of consumer behavior and marketing research is a synergy of consumer insight. Consumer insight is a deep, profound knowledge of the consumer that comes from integrating traditional marketing research tools with consumer behavior theories. And these insights can then structure a company's thinking and decision making. So that's what we're going to look at today, during this course. Consumer behavior comprises all consumer activities associated with the purchase, use, and disposal of products, of goods and services, including the consumer's emotional and mental and behavioral responses that precede, determine, or follow these activities. Consumer behavior is broken down into purchase, use, and disposal activities. Categorizing consumer behavior by type of activity is useful because consumers' responses to stimuli may differ depending on whether they are purchasing, using, or disposing of a single product or service. You can see the diagram here of how all this plays together. Purchase activities are those through which consumers acquire goods and services. Purchase activities also include everything done leading up to the purchase, such as gathering and evaluating information about the product or service and choosing where to make that purchase. It can also include additional services, such as deciding whether you want a warranty or an extra insurance policy or any things like that, in the purchase and transaction method as well. Use activities describe where, when, and how consumption actually takes place. And finally, disposal activities are the ways consumers get rid of products and/or packaging after consumption. And these include discarding products, recycling, reuse, and even resale on platforms such as eBay. Now let's look at the consumer responses. Emotional or affective responses reflect a consumer's emotions, feelings, and moods. More specifically, moods are states of mind at a particular time. Feelings are the expressions of our moods. And emotion is moods plus those feelings plus some type of a psychological or physical arousal. The book uses an example of purchasing a car, so we're going to use that here as well. So when a consumer buys his first car, both excitement and uncertainty are probably among his affective responses. These affective responses can also come at different intensity and last longer. So emotions are the strongest when it comes to intensity. And we can see that companies or businesses, organizations use emotions to grab customers' attentions because they know it's the height of intensity. Feelings last a little bit longer, but not quite as intense, and those moods last the longest. Mental or cognitive responses include a customer's thought process, opinions, beliefs, attitudes, and intentions about products and services, weighing the pros and cons of financing a new car, making a mental list of attributes a car should have, and imagining oneself driving that car are some of the cognitive processes a consumer might experience when purchasing that new automobile. Finally, behavioral responses include a consumer's overt decisions and actions during the purchase, use, and disposal activities that we talked about a little earlier. To continue the car purchase example, the consumer is likely to pay close attention to the various car advertisements, read online car reviews, read sales literature at the dealership or on a manufacturer's website. They'll test drive a car prior to purchase, discuss the decision with friends or family, and regularly maintain the car with oil changes after the purchase. So why should we even study consumer behavior? Why is it important? First of all, it helps us to improve business performance. Marketers who understand their customers can create better products and services, promote their products and services more effectively, and develop marketing plans and strategies that foster sustainable competitive advantages. Their goal is to understand the general dynamics of consumer behavior that remain constant regardless of the trends. And this understanding enables marketers to predict what motivates people to buy and then to deliver products that respond to those motivations, thereby successfully meeting and exceeding customer expectations over time. We also use consumer behavior research to influence public policy. And public policy is the establishment of laws and regulations that govern business practices in order to protect consumers. Those interested in shaping public policy study consumer behavior to understand the public needs and wants, and at the same time to protect the public from unfair, unethical, or dangerous business practices. And finally, to help consumers make better decisions. And many people study consumer behavior because they want to educate consumers to help the consumer to act responsibly. Agencies and organizations involved in consumer education and assistance study consumer behaviors that are socially destructive or the dark side of consumer behavior. You can read more about that in your textbook. So, to better understand these consumer insights that I mentioned, we use consumer behavior research. Researchers analyze consumer behavior research data in order to discover the customer needs and wants, deliver the products and services that satisfy those needs and wants, and ensure that the customer remains satisfied over time. So this is a continuous process. It's not a one-time thing. It's constantly going. Ultimately, effective consumer behavior research provides marketers with relevant information for making better decisions, reducing that uncertainty that consumers may feel, and develop those consumer insights we talked about. Consumer research conduct basic and applied research to identify important variables relevant to consumer behavior. Basic research aims to understand relative relationships between variables, whereas applied research examines variables within a specific context of interest to the marketer. Researchers design research that is exploratory, descriptive, and causal. And the textbook provides a lot more information on those different types of research design. Ultimately, basic research is a generalized view of how consumers may act in general. Applied research is more focused on a specific business situation that is going on within a particular business. Understanding, explaining, and predicting consumer behavior are complicated tasks. At the intersection of consumer behavior and marketing research are the customer insights, as I mentioned. The textbook that we're using adopts a scientific approach to achieve a deeper understanding of consumer behavior and develop these consumer insights. In this approach, researchers are especially interested in two types of relationships between variables, namely correlational and causal relationships. When a statistically testable and significant relationship exists between an event and the condition, we say that that event and the condition are correlated. And we can have a positive correlation, as we see here, advertising expenditures and sales were positively correlated. We can have a negative correlation, or we can have no correlation at all. A causal relationship between two variables means that the variables are correlated and that one variable influences the other, but not vice versa. So we see with this instance, the increase in advertising caused the increase in sales, but it didn't vice versa. There are two broad sources of research data: secondary data and primary data. Secondary data are data that already exist and can be assessed within an organization or from external sources. Primary data are a new data collected on a project-by-project basis. We can use observation, direct questioning, experiments, and projective techniques. All right, so that is a quick review of what you will be covering in your textbook and in your different readings for this week. And I want to quickly go over our activities for this week. First of all, we have a discussion post, and this is where you will introduce yourself. And I'm excited to meet everyone. And when you do share your name, if you've got a nickname, please share that. But using the letters of your first name, provide one word beginning with each letter that best describes you. And then we'd like to hear some additional facts about your background and experience. And then next, I want you to review the chapter 1 of your text, as well as the requirements of the final project. And you have access to the final project guidelines and rubric. And for this final project that we're going to be working on over the 8 weeks, you're going to select one of the highlighted companies: Coca-Cola, Nike, Google, Amazon, Apple, Target, or Starbucks. And in your discussion post, explain why you chose this company. And then you need to identify 3 resources that you're going to use to conduct a consumer behavior analysis. Please look into the Marketing Library Research Guide that you have access to. It provides a lot of outstanding resources for you to use. And then, of course, your initial discussion post is due by Thursday at midnight. And then responding to your peers, you might recommend other considerations that they could use to analyze. And that is due by Sunday at midnight. You will write a blog post, Consumer Who, Consumer You. And in this, you will discuss the type of consumer you are and what influences your buying decisions. And that's one of the cool things about studying consumer behavior, because you can put yourself in this context and you will learn so much about yourself and how these theories apply to your own actions and behaviors and attitudes and everything. So answer those following questions in a blog. If you need help setting up your blog, just give me a shout and you'll just share your blog entry in the initial post, and there are no responses required for that. And do check out the blog guidelines and rubric document before you start that project. And finally, I wanted to show you real quickly the main project that we're going to be doing. The first part that we're going to be doing is we're starting it now in Module 1, and it will be finalized in Module 3, where you're going to prepare a PowerPoint presentation summarizing the research on segmentation strategies you have so far considered to market the consumer product you are proposing for your final project. And again, that is due in 3 weeks, so you have time, but work on that as you go along and start putting things together. And again, this will correlate back to the company that you have selected. So that is it for week 1 of consumer behavior. Again, I'm really excited to have you along for the ride, and I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions or need any help with anything, please reach out to me. You have my email address, and I also encourage you to check me out on social media sites under Marketing Professor or Dr. Conrad. And until next week, have a good one. Bye.